Hello, my name is Ashutosh Kumar Rai and my student ID is 23035010229. I am a student of BSc Honours in Data Science and Artificial Intelligence online degree program at IIT Guwahati. This video is my submission for Internship 1 course code DA377 for trimester 7. My internship was at Vance by Harris. It's an AI startup based in Gurgaon, where I worked as a founding member as and founder's office intern. Over the next few minutes, I'll walk you through with what my company does, what problem did I work on, and how I approach it technically, and what I found. So let's get into it. So let me start with the organization and the problem. So Vans by Harris, it's an early stage startup uh, where I joined and I was a founding team of four. We were the founding team of four, including the founder. And the product it is what they call as AI Chief Networking Officer, a platform which automates high value professional introduction across network over million professionals using large language model, voice interfaces, and WhatsApp as the primary channel of communication. Now, when I joined as a founding member and a founder's office intern, working fully remotely from 1st September to 30th November 2025. And when I say I owned it end to end, I mean there was no predefined pipeline for waiting for me. I had to figure out what to build, evaluate it, and then build it. So the three core challenges I inherited were: first, a fragmented AI stack, so no evaluated backbone for LLM or maybe text to speech or speech to text. Every provider was just an assumption. Every time we hit an experiment and then we come to some conclusion. Second was no outreach tooling. WhatsApp was chosen as the main channel of communication, but the business API required pre-approved message templates before we sent anything at scale. So there were no previous workflows for that. Third, validated user segment. So Van's potential audience range from student to founders and to job seekers, but nobody has tested who actually converts. So overarching challenges was convert these three gaps into deployable AI pipeline, working outreach system, and a persona strategy grounded in real data. So all under startup constraints of time and budget. Most importantly, that was this internship about. So coming to the next part, before I walk through what I built, let me quickly cover the tools and technologies involved. So on the AI pipeline side, the three core providers I selected and integrated were Google Gemini 2.0 Flash and the Reasoning LLM. Then 11 labs for text to speech and DeepGram Nova 2 for speech to text. I'll explain exactly why I chose these in the next part. So for outreach and operations, the primary channel was WhatsApp Business Cloud APIs, Meta APIs for business initiated messaging. I use Meta Business Manager for template submission, approvals, and Postman for the testing of the APIs, and GitHub for version control and dispatching everything. And for the day-to-day work, Notion for documentation, Slack internally for team communication, Google Sheets for tracking, and LinkedIn for campaigns and outreach. In total, roughly 11 tools across AI pipeline, outreach automation, and daily operations. A fairly lean stack for what we were building. Next, now let me show you the Vance product pipeline that I helped design and implemented. So the four stages were understand, find, then qualify, and last connect. So I'll explain how it works end to end. So the user comes through a chat or a voice call, states their networking goal. Maybe they are looking for a co-founder, or maybe they are searching for jobs, or just a business introduction. So stage one will be understanding. So the DeepGram, which is serving as a speech to text transcriber, it transcribes the voice input, gives it to the LLM Gemini 2.0 Flash, and parses the user's networking intent from the transcript. Then the stage 2 comes in with the find. Find is that relevant candidates are sourced in parallel from all over the network. Then graph transversal and persona contexts. And then it comes to the stage 3 qualifying stage, where each candidate is scored, profile verification, then ideal customer profile grading, and inferred buying intent. So this is the filtering step before anything reaches out to the user. Then comes the final and most important step, that is the stage 4 connect, where Gemini generates a persona aware introduction message which is delivered via pre-approved templates, webhook based tracking system, then log delivery, read and write events per message to the other side of the networking session. Then a few key technical decisions worth calling out are: I used character locked system prompt to stop the LLM from drifting away from the Vance persona, which has the guardrails and the whole persona of the Vance as a personality. Then I build an in distribution STT evaluation set on Indian English, which is the most important part of our experiment. Not all stock benchmarks, which I'll explain, mattered a lot. And I enforce the meta template pre-approval discipline before any outreach ran. So the philosophy here was every link in this chain had to be validated before propagation, and a wrong profile match or an unapproved template fails fast before it touches the real audience. Then the deliverables, if I talk about deliverables, there were three specific projects I delivered. So first was the AI infrastructure benchmarking. So the goal was to select the right LLM, then the STT and TTS providers for the pipeline. I defined four evaluation criteria for each: output quality, inference latency, and robustness on the English language specifically, and obviously the cost, which is the most important one. Then I ran structured evaluation against multiple providers. The output was final selection of Gemini 2.0 Flash, then 11 Labs, and DeepGram Nova 2. Second project was our WhatsApp outreach toolchain. The goal was to enable the structured outreach at scale. I designed four template categories: an initial introduction, an event trigger nudge, then a no response follow up, and a value add share. So these were the tool chain initially. And the if we come to the third project, which was persona segmentation, the goal here, we had a very great discovery about the target audience where we are actually hitting the target. So the goal was to figure out who Vans should actually be targeting. So I defined five primary user persona, wrote persona specifically messaging for each, then executed 12 campaigns across all LinkedIn and WhatsApp channels, roughly 400 messages per week. The output was the validation for a specific high performing segment, which I'll describe next. So if we come to the results, starting with the AI provider selection, Gemini 2.0 Flash was chosen as the LLM because its sub-seconds inference latency suited the conversation model, and delay beyond 2 or 3 seconds materially degrade user experience on calls. So its cost was also well before the models like GPT 4.0. So yeah, for early stage it was making sense. Second, 11 Labs was chosen for TTS based on the naturalness of his voice, specifically if we see for the Indian voices, and it was consistent, so we can use it for our brand's voice over time. Then DeepGram Nova won at SCT evaluation after a lot more testing, and we tested it on Indian English evaluation set. The provider ranking were completely opposite. So DeepGram came out clearly ahead. This had a direct practical implication. If you are building a speech product for Indian user, you cannot rely on Western benchmarking. That's what we learned. On the campaign side, across 12 campaigns, we hit 60% message rate which comfortably exceeds total cold email open rates of 15 to 25%. Most importantly, the job seeker and the job provider pairing consistently outperform every other persona segment. So in this case, both parties have specific sensitive goals. One is looking for a job role and another is looking for a talent. So this mutual urgency created a condition for high intent, uh, very impactful introductions, and these insight redirected and entire acquisition strategy. So evaluation and professional growth, I'll tell. So now let me reflect on what I learned from this experience, and not just what was delivered, but what it taught me. So the most technical significant outcome was in the distribution STT finding. It's a good reminder that AI benchmarking are only meaningful if the match you actually deployed distribution. Western English test sets, we saw that they don't predict Indian English performance. So beyond these technical things, a broader lesson was the first is about the model selection philosophy. The best model for production system is never simply the highest ranked on the leaderboard. It depends on the balance of capability, cost, latency, and the use case. So second is that constraint can enforce discipline. So the WhatsApp business API requirements to it requires to pre-approval of all the templates. Initially, it felt like a bottleneck, but it forced us to design a deliberate persona-specific message before any outreach ran. So, which likely improved quality compared to ad hoc reactive outreach. Then third is about end-to-end ownership. Working in a founding team, it means you make decisions and you live with it consequences as well. So that's a very different feedback loop from coursework, and it sharpens procrastination very fast. Uh, Let me wrap up this with the biggest challenge, the moment that stood out with us, and where this goes next is the biggest challenge was, which I would call the benchmarking trap. So stock STT benchmark pointed me towards the wrong provider for Vance actual user. I had to step back, build an Indian English test set, rerun all the evaluations, and ranking flipped. So that decision could easily have gone the other way if I had not questioned the published numbers. So that the moment that stood out was the campaign data on the job seeker and the job provider pair. Seeing a single insight that mutually intended density drives connections value more than a network size. So that redirected the entire acquisition strategy, and we were aware that where we have to focus next. So on future scope, the five extensions I would prioritize are the fine tuning of the LLM to reduce hallucination and follow the persona perfectly, expanding to omni-channel outreach across LinkedIn, email, then building a relationship health scoring system, then accent adaptive STT fine tuning for Indian English, and definitely opportunity prediction engine that surfaces time sensitivity connection opportunities from the social graphs. So quick note on artifacts, my signed offer letter is available on Google Drive. I have attached the link. You can also find the LinkedIn presence of Vance through my company page or the founders post, which I have referenced in these slides. All tools and API reference, Gemini, then 11 Labs, DeepGram, WhatsApp Business API, Meta Manager are documented in the written report. So this is it. Thanks for watching. I am Ashutosh and my student ID is 23035010229. I am a BS Honors in Data Science and AI student at IIT Guwahati. Submitting this for my internship. Fun. I hope this gave a clear picture of the problem, the approach, and the thinking beyond the work. Thanks.